fun and exciting. Can you guys see me? Anyone out there? Last minute technical difficulties. I guess I can't go live on my MacBook, or at least can't figure out how. So, hello. I'm Jennie Wolek, Tulsa, Oklahoma. I'm here a little early. I was just getting started with talking today about the 3 L's and the 8 truth categories. So I will wait a minute for people to join me so I'm not alone in this day. So let's see. Yeah, the 8 goal categories of the Millionaire Real Estate Agent. So let me see if anybody is there and how this works and if we're live. Okay, that's weird. We are. I can see myself. Creepy. Okay, guys, we've got 1 more minute before I get started, and then we'll go. Hello, can you guys hear me? Oh, hi, Brittany. Can you hear me? Brittany showing me love. She's the sweetest. Okay. Give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. Thank you. All right, good. Well, cool. Well, I will just kind of start chatting a bit. It's just now straight up 1 o'clock Central Standard Time, and we get today to talk about the 3 L's, which I am going to make an assumption that inside of this MREA book club, everyone here is familiar with the 3 L's and the triangle and the 8 truths. And I am so excited to talk with you guys today. I'd actually started going through MREA recently, rereading it, and I have actually been reading it on my big iPad. So what I love about that, it's in my Kindle app, and inside of it, what's great is there's awesome easy highlighting and then unhighlighting, which is good. And I love that there's diagrams, and I'll show one of these to you. So like today we're going to talk about the 80-20 rule, and if you wanted to use that picture, you could enlarge it and snap a pic, and you can share it on Facebook or with your team. It's a great way to have all of these models drawn out. Hi, Ken. So anyway, we will start. I am pretty excited that finally after 10 years I got my MREA book, Spiral Bound, because the accountability of doing this book club today got my rear in gear, and I saw that Reed had his done, so I needed to be like him. And special shout out thanks to Reed for just taking my phone call, because I could not get the live video to work on my Mac. So thank you, Reed. Hi, Missy. So guys, today my goal is to really just work through and chunk down these topics and to just mastermind on it. You guys are all awesome producers and agents and business owners, and so we live this. And what's cool is that because I've been breaking it down into teeny weeny little sections every morning when I'm reading, I'm getting so much more out of this than ever before, because all this language that we use over and over again, it's already all created for us, and we hear these words or phrases and it's already here. So like, for example, this is what I've been using lately. Did you know that real estate is a contact sport? And we say that, and all this time I did not know that it was actually in this book. So really, everything that you ever need to know is inside of here. So today, let's get started. We are going to talk about the 3 L's, and I am kind of loosey-goosey on this in that I've read the material, we live the material, and we'll just go through it, and I'd love you guys to converse with me. So it starts with talking about the 3 L's. So let me give you reference here in where we are in the book. We are still early on. We are still in Think a Million. So this is where Gary's just now starting to break down the 3 L's, going into more detail. So as we know, we talk about it a lot, the Pareto's principle. And I love the story that he summarizes for us. In 1906, Pareto had noticed, he's an Italian economist, and he noted that 80% of the farmland in Italy was owned by 20% of the population. He then also, being an avid gardener, he also then noted that 20% of the pea pods in his garden yielded 80% of the harvest. So that was then used to invalidate what we call today as Pareto principle, which is the 80-20 rule. So it is really cool because it applies to almost everything in life. And I even love it that he calls it an achievement formula. And I believe in QL that we teach, QL for kids, we talk about the 80-20 principle. It's also brought up in the One Thing. And I think Gary calls it a success principle as well, success formula. So when we know that 20% of our actions will produce 80% of our results. So how many of you guys spend all of your time in your 20% all day long? Or how many times do we get so distracted and squirrel and shiny objects and silly things that get in our way of keeping our focus on our 20%. I think that's usually what happens. I know at least early on, and I know at least early on in your real estate career, there are so many things to still learn and do, and it's really easy to get distracted and thrown off track. I mean, I remember spending so much time working on a flyer. I mean, I had to become a master of publisher, and yeah, I had to become a master of all these tasks and these tools that I shouldn't be wasting my time on, yet it made me feel really good at the end of the day when I had that really pretty flyer. And now that makes me crazy because it's true that a flyer does not sell a house. So leverage that stuff off. I love how he says doing a lot of things is never a substitute for doing the right things. What do you guys think about that? True? All right, so when we are focusing on the leads, listings, and leverage, that is all that we really need to be focusing on in order to have a big, awesome business. All the rest can be leveraged off, right? Okay, so let's get into leads. Let's see. Do I want to go off my book or my iPad? I'm gonna go off my iPad because I got my little notes highlighted over here. Okay, so leads. We are in a lead generating business. It is true. I got into this industry, and it was before I knew about Keller Williams. It was before I knew about this red book that is our Realtor Bible, and I was absolutely a lead receiver. Raise your hand and agree that it is really easy early on, and you can always trick yourself to think that if I'm just nice and I smile and I do open houses, that some business will find me. And if you don't have a purpose or a reason to pick up the phone and get over yourself and get out of your head, then you're just going to have probably a pretty sad business, to tell you the truth. And I can speak because I did it for a really long time. I was totally a lead receiver. And then until I got on purpose and became a lead generator, my whole business has changed. So you do not have a business if you do not have leads. And do you have enough leads to have the big business that you desire? So Gary says there's nothing more important in your sales career than the prospective buyers and sellers. To have a viable business, you simply must have client leads. No leads means no sales. So we are in a lead generation business. I say it over and over again all the time. We just We are in a relationship business, a lead generating business that just happens to sell houses. That is what we do. And I'm going to be very honest right here. I really don't care about homes, the details of a home that much. I said it out loud. I really don't. I don't know the newest trends in styles or colors or countertops or cabinets, and I really don't care. I mean, it's really our job to help our clients through the process and to get them to achieve their dreams and their goals. And I don't know. Sorry. Right, Missy? I'm just saying. So you have to embrace the fact that the number of qualified leads you have will either grow your business, keep your business, or will put you out of business. So now more than ever, guys, as I'm reading through this, there's things that come up. Now remember, this all came out before shift and before the shift. And so there's so many things he talks about in here that are so still true. And I think we're going to see them again, like the shift that's coming. At least in Tulsa, Oklahoma, we are starting to feel it. We're in the middle of the country, and it usually takes a while to trickle into us, and we're already feeling some slowdown for sure. So in a prosperous market that many of you still are in, because I've traveled, I know you guys are still rocking and rolling, there are many agents still relying on the passive lead generations, the casual referrals, and the luck that creates a business, and that is lead receiving. So you may trick yourself and think that while you're following up on the leads that are coming in due to your prosperous business, you're really lead receiving. You're not generating new business. And the other side, if you actively, systematically focus on lead generating through direct prospecting and marketing activities, you will always be doing the best you can, even in shifting markets. Shifting markets. Lead generating always wins no matter the market. If you count on the market to deliver when the times are good, you better count on it to take them away when they're bad. I love that. All right, guys, so you get it, right? We have to have leads. So how are you making sure that you have enough leads? And are you looking at your leads all the time, or thinking, what are my top lead sources and how can I plus what I'm already good at? That's what we started focusing on this mid-year. We did a mid-year review, and we're like, wow, we have 3 big buckets of leads. And are we doing all that we can do inside of each of those to make sure that we're getting the most we can out of things we're already good at? Instead of spending our energy on the things that we're not so great at, why spend the energy there? Let's just focus on what we're already successful with. So no matter where your market is, so how busy are you guys right now? Are you super slammed? Are you busy? Are you too busy? You have time to listen in on this, which is awesome. I mean, tell me, give me some feedback, you guys. Type it in right now. Are you still super slammed, or are you feeling a slowdown? I'm waiting. Okay, well, I'll make up my own story then. So I've been traveling, and I was just in, where was I? Phoenix. Phoenix, you guys were still really busy, right? And Sacramento, you guys, okay, Missy, slowing down a little bit. Okay, good. Well, so when you're too busy and you're in overwhelm, you just got to keep going, right? I mean, every day we have to just keep reminding ourselves that we will get through, the most important things will get done, and there'll be time to do the rest tomorrow or the next day, or delegate it or drop it. So an idea that I picked up on here while reading was that when we are so crazy busy and you feel the overwhelm, then that is when you can refer some business off. Or now is when you know you need more help, and you start building out that job description of the next person that you need, your missing person. So when you're doing things that you know you shouldn't be doing, be making a list beside you so that that is your next person. That's who you need to help you out with the next piece. So now we know listings are important, obviously, and leads are the foundation of our triangle, right? Now we've got our listings. Now, Gary talks a lot about seller listings. There's also buyer listings, so make sure you're doing the best you can in each, and he's just saying that seller listings are way more leverageable, and they cost less, really. It'll definitely cost less time, and they're going to produce the biggest results, because then you're going to be able to generate more buyers and sellers off of that sign in the yard, right? In the early days that I got into real estate, people used to call on signs. We know they don't do that anymore. We know that they are searching online. So now, what's your online presence look like? So that's your way to capture these buyers. But at the end of the day, the more listings you have, the more business you're going to have. And I have truly found that it is a fact. The number of listings that you take in a year will determine the number of houses you sell. I found that the hard way. It's very true. So what are some great reasons to have signs in the yards? We know them, right? We talk about it all the time. You get to put your sign in the yard, you get to market that property, you get sign calls on it, you get web leads on it. You get more control of your time. If you work with a lot of sellers, then you know that when you schedule time to talk with them, my day is Thursday mornings. I'm going to touch base with them. I'm going to do a quick little market update and share with them what's going on in the market. I'm going to have the fierce conversation. I do Thursday mornings, honestly, because if it's time for a price adjustment, then getting it changed on Thursday can get it populated and ready for the weekend. Also, whenever we have lots of listings, we are helping pace the market with and knowing the market, what's going on in the market as far as the knowledge with pricing and what you're feeling. And I think that's why I am a listing agent, and I think that's why I'm really feeling this shift that we're feeling, because less than a month ago we'd put a home priced $150,000 on the market, and it sold in minutes with multiple offers, and we put one on 2 weeks ago and it took 2 weeks to sell. So right there, I'm already feeling a difference from just a month ago. So be always on top of your market and staying in touch with that. Okay, so listings in the yard, super important. And then we get to the leverage. So leverage is definitely people, and it's also tools. So do you have tools in your business that you use to help leverage your time? So whether that's video emails to your clients, so they're getting the same message whenever you say the same thing over and over again during a transaction or the next with clients. Whatever you're saying over and over again, make a video of yourself. Doesn't matter what you look like, that's what you look like, that's how you sound. Make a video, and then that is your new system. So instead of spending lots and lots of time in reactive phone calls, you're being proactive by sending them information so they know where they are, all their expectations are set, and they just trust that you're doing what you're supposed to be doing behind the scenes, because so many times they just have no clue what happens once we put a sign in the yard, right? So let's keep them informed of everything that's going on. So the leverage is also people. And Gary says, until you have maxed out on what you can accomplish through focus on leads and listings, you should not hire another person. This goes back to red light, green light. So you cannot go and solve all your problems because you're too busy. Then you push it off on somebody else. And us as real estate professionals, I'm going to just raise my hand on this, is that we did not get into real estate because we're the best leaders of a team. We got into real estate usually because we're entrepreneurial in spirit, and we just go do it because it's just natural. And then finding somebody that can just do it like us and still be on our team, and then we have to lead them, and we haven't properly trained them. We're just setting us all up to fail. And so this is why we all know it is following a system and a model for hiring and training. Oh, I love the E to P. E to P is my favorite. And so this is where we're going to get into this, because your leverage is when you've been your entrepreneurial self for so long that you can just not do anymore, you're hitting your ceiling, then you have to break through to the other side with either systems or people. And like Missy just reminded me of, our favorite new little saying is that it's okay, because today, whatever your ceiling is, tomorrow can be your floor. And that can only happen when you really dive in, focus on systems through technology, through checklists, and through people. And I love this. Gary says, leverage answers to 3 questions in your business. Who is going to do it? The people. How will they do it? The systems. And what will they do? The tools that they will use. So basically, leverage is the who, how, and what of your real estate business. What do you guys think about that? You feeling it? The leads, listings, and leverage, we know that they are just so crucial to our business, and then we can just kind of maybe skim over them and not really quite dive into the importance of it. So this is where Gary talks about talent. We use that word over and over again. If you guys have been to career visioning, you've definitely heard this, and I need to go back again because never stop learning. Sorry, my hair's kind of messing up. So the challenge is with the leverage. The biggest change in my business came whenever I inherited an assistant from an agent in my office. And so I had this assistant, and the agent was getting out of the business. She's my mentor, and she already had been following the MREA systems. And we've got the whole book of all of the checklists and everything for a great business. So I got to inherit all that. And so this new assistant started putting all these systems in place for my sphere. And I mean, instantly within that next year, my business grew so much just because they were getting systematic touches. This is why I'm such a believer in, you can see it right here, tab, the lead generation model, pages 133 through 147. I mean, it's just already all there and created. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. So the thing is, though, is that not all assistants or executive assistants, EAs, are created equal. Some of that is, I think Gene Rivers said it in a shift class one time. He said, I don't know if it's shift, he said there's 3 reasons that that a new hire doesn't work out. One of them is that they weren't properly hired, they weren't taken through the process correctly. Another reason is that they weren't properly trained. Or lastly is they just weren't the right fit. And at the end of the day, all 3 of those are my fault. So you can never feel resentment toward the people on your team that aren't living up to what your hopes and dreams were for them, because it's still back on you. Were they the right fit from the beginning? Had you taken them through the process correctly? And then at the end of the day, were you training them and holding them accountable? I can say no. That's usually me. So this is where Gary's talking about good talent should not be confused with great talent. Good is good and great is great. And although good can really help you, I call it a Band-Aid. I have had lots of Band-Aids over the years. Somebody that can do something at the time when I just didn't have time to do it properly. Actually, great can change your business forever. So there is just a really big, important reason to hire the right people from the start. So when you're looking for people, do not look past the importance of your first hire. Gary talks about this all the time, is you shouldn't have to hire lots and lots of people to build your empire if you hire your first ones correctly. For all you guys watching, have you found that that's harder to do than it sounds? Like, it's quite a challenge. Would anyone agree? Oh, you guys all got your perfect EA on your first hire. That's awesome. Okay, well, I didn't, and I'm still searching. So it's just still finding and moving forward and staying focused on looking for that right hire. The other thing is that these people in the behavioral style of that first hire is not like yours, and you don't want them to be like yours. You need them to be, per the DISC, more of an S and a C. You need them to be stable and checklist, and you also need, yeah, I'm sure she will be, Missy. I'm confident you're going to do it right. Learn from all the rest of us. But you want them to not be like us because you want them to offset and balance you out. So therefore, you need them to, like I said, I got a little distracted there. Yeah, exactly. So Danny, yes. So what happens, unfortunately, is we attract people that are like us, and so we attract crazy people that are in this real estate industry and think that we can just form them and mold them and make them do something that's not a natural fit in their behavioral style. And we learned quickly that they just walk out or they hate you forever. And I've just decided that I'm not going to do that to anybody anymore, because my high eye likes people to like me. So that's why. All right, so Gary says that if you do it right, it could last for a lifetime. I am optimistic that so many newer agents are going to just listen to this and they're going to do it right from the start. They're going to go to career visioning, they're going to master the KPA, and they're going to follow all the rules and do everything they're supposed to do, right? So the thing I love about systems are my favorite. I love systems. So a system is anything that you do more than one time that you can write down and it's duplicatable. So it's a checklist of how to take a listing, how to put a home on MLS. It's all of anything you do, everything you do is a system. So, hey Rick, so you want to just make sure that from the beginning of your business, anything that's in your brain that you just naturally go to and do, start writing it down or make a video. Nowadays with technology, just shoot a little video and have a training collection of videos for your new agents or your new team members. When I had a new listing manager come on and she wasn't on quite yet and I needed to put a listing on MLS, I thought, oh, well, I'll just write all this down. I was like, I'll just make a video. And I just walked through with my phone and I shared with her how to do it. Then from there, they can then type out the system, right, and create the policy procedure manual for you. Okay, so, sorry, I'm going a little winded here. Okay, so hiring is important and leverage is all about who, how, and what. You guys got that. So next we're going to go to the 8 goal categories, and I will totally admit that I never really absorbed all of these. I probably just pushed on through to get to the next section, and as I was reading through these, I had an aha that each of these 8 categories are actually pieces of my 411. So whenever you are properly doing your 411, that I will admit I'm not always great at keeping it up to date, you've got your annual goal at the top, and in each category you've got your job, your business, your personal, and your personal and your financial. Each of these goal categories are inside of that. So I thought that was a really cool aha, and encourage you guys to use these goal categories in your 411 as well. Okay, so there are 2 sets of numbers the Millionaire real estate agent is always aware of: your goal numbers and your actual numbers. So we are going to always know before the beginning of a year what your goals are. How many how many homes do you want to sell and help people with? What's your volume on that? I don't know if you guys have an economic model spreadsheet. It's a great way to plug in a few of the numbers and all the rest populate, so you see how many listings you need at all times. It's a great tool, and then as you're going through, hopefully you have a I do need to do that. Yes, the one thing. Thank you. I actually just thought about that today. So as you're going through each month, you are able to check off, have you hit your goal, where are you from your goal, and how are you going to adjust? Are you guys using the 15th protocol? If you see that your team is off in some of your areas, do you guys get together and all hands on deck and get caught up on whatever that is that you're falling behind on? So for me, honestly, I have a MAPS coach, and that's who holds me accountable to these. I'm not a lover of numbers. I've grown to love them because I know that they're so important. So knowing your goal, knowing where you are from your goal, it's just everything. Okay, so we are going to get into the first goal category. It is called the leads generated. This is pretty simple. It's how many leads did you bring in, how many leads do you have coming in, and how many what areas do you need better conversion of leads. So always knowing where your leads are coming from and making sure to do red light, green light on those as well. So listings. We know we've got to have listings. So these are the things that we're going to measure. We're going to measure leads. We're going to measure listings. We're going to measure contracts written. The next best thing if you cannot afford a MAPS coach. Well, that's a great question, Danny, and I'd probably just want to have a conversation with you about that. So you can message me and we'll chat. I don't see it as a cost or not being able to afford. I see it as an investment because it totally changed my business and my life. So we can talk about that later. And then the contract's written, and then the fifth goal is the money. So how much money are you actually making? How much are you bringing in, and how are you paying out? Are you taking all of the cut? I mean, once you get to a certain place as being a real estate agent, you have a team. Do you choose to pay yourself a salary? How does that all work, and what does it look like? Oh, and then we get into the budgets and the numbers. It's so fun. And people, who always are in your brain, and who do you see as your next hires or where you need to be going with your future? So my coach I was stumped because I was always feeling like I was in this running around a hamster in a wheel, not able to get beyond where I was working to go. And he just reminded me that with having a future org chart, future organizational chart, that just keeps pushing you and guiding you to where you're going. So when you know that in 5 years, this is where I intend to be, cutting that in half and cutting it down and cutting it down. So right this minute, what is my instant urgent hire that I need to be looking at to get me down to where I'm going? So always be thinking about people, and add that to your 411 at the top whenever you're in your business category. Who's next? Who's next? I feel like whenever you get to that place of thinking about the future, those future people start showing up. It's creepy weird. I've been saying for a year that our expansion opportunity is to a city north of us by 30 minutes. And I've just been saying it out loud and saying it out loud and saying it out loud. And it came about a different way, yet a new team member is from that city. So she has intimate knowledge of the people, of the community, of how to drive around town and get around. And that's what we needed. We needed an expert in that area so that when we share our clients, send our clients with her, that she knows where she's going and not getting lost, right? Isn't that cool? I think it's cool. I think she's cool. So we're always thinking about our people, and who do I need and what do I need them to do? Where will I fill them? Training. What training are we going to provide them with? We know that our company, Keller Williams, offers all kinds of training. Are you going to put them in bold right away? Are you going to pay for it? Do you get them in our market center? We have a great training with Career Launch and Ignite where they're always being able to learn. And I want them to learn the Keller Williams models and the Keller Williams training, because then they're going to speak the same language as me, because obviously this is the language I speak. And how do we keep them accountable? I am not great at this and working to get better. We've got to sit down with them and talk with them face to face or on the phone at least once a week. Ooh, yeah, that sounds great. Need a bold instructor to go to the UK, right? And then we are going to begin with the end in mind. What Gary says is you'll see that your leads are increasing, and with them you'll be seeing a corresponding increase in listings taken, contracts written, and closed. Eventually you'll be looking to the future saying, if this continues much longer, I'll need some more help. So having a placeholder in your future is just where you need to have your brain and where you're going. And then we definitely always need to be thinking of new systems and tools. It's the seventh goal category, are systems and tools. So this year we'd like to love on our database more. So what system can we put in place that we can love on them more? Well, is that having housewarming parties after they close? Is that giving quarterly events or giveaways, or some way to shower them with appreciation and show them how much you care about them? What are the systems that are out there that don't go crazy on spending money, do it with a budget in mind and make sure it fits in your model, yet we need to make sure that we're having systemized events and things that are related to growing our business, and not just spending money on whatever's the new tool. Do your research and make sure that everything is in alignment. This is cool. This is something I highlighted in pink, different from my blue, so I know it must be important. Gary says that actually the job description is an extremely important tool for establishing your standards for performance and behavior on the front end. They should be detailed and thorough. If it is helpful to do so, try thinking of them as a syllabus college professors hand out the first day of class. A typical syllabus will not only provide a description of the material to be explored, but also set standards for passing and failing. Your staff needs to understand how they can succeed with you and how they might fail with you. The management of almost all other tools can be delegated to your staff. So, are you providing a job description that's detailed enough to share with them what expectations you have and what standards they must hit? Because if you don't have a standard, that is the standard, and therefore why would they live up to one if you haven't set the rule for one? So then I think it is real important, like we just already talked about, is what's the future? Where are we going from here? What current systems need to be better? I mean, I'm going to totally admit this. We are good. We're a good team. And some may think we're great. I just know that there's still so much room for improvement. So what do we're always thinking, right? Always thinking about what's next. So what are tools and systems that need better? We need a better CRM, because as we're growing, we need more detail going on inside of our leads and management of leads. So just always be talking and thinking about what's next. And this is the 8th goal category and the last of them, and it is the most important, I believe, and it is personal education. So you guys are here listening, 6 of you live right now. Thank you for sticking in, and you're focused and you care about your personal education. And I feel like you have to learn and then you earn. That's always been important to me, and you have to take the time to invest in yourself, in your classes, in your training, and that also provides you with the confidence to be the best that you can be and talk the way that you talk. Now, I've been doing this for 16 years, so it's pretty natural and easy for me to be direct and forward with sellers when it's time for a price adjustment. However, in the early days, it was really hard, and until I practiced the scripts over and over again, things like I don't make the market, I simply interpret the market, and the market is showing us that they're rejecting your price. That's not the right price. So just knowing these scripts in you, that spontaneity is a conditioned reflex, then you're just able to have a better business because of your confidence. And that all goes back to personal education. So I'm a little bit of a fan of that. You guys are awesome, and I hope that this section was helpful. So today we got to talk about the 3 L's. Leads, listings, and leverage. That is our triangle and foundation for our business. That's our 20%. We focus on it. And then all the rest can be delegated, leveraged, or passed out if you're too busy. And then the 8 goal categories. In the MREA, the sections we talked about today were pages, you have it up there in the text go through those pages again soon, highlight the things we talked about, and make sure and use those 8 goal categories in your 411, things that you're always thinking about. So thanks guys for chiming in. Is there anything that I can help you with before we get off here today? Okay, thanks Rick. Thanks guys for staying around, and let me know. You can message me if you'd like to talk more. Have a great day guys. Bye.